Hi, my name is Talha, and in this video, I'll do a quick recap of what we had covered in the email etiquettes session. Right? So, in the email etiquettes workshop, we first understood the different challenges that you guys might have in um, email writing. Then I had created a curated notes for all of you in which we covered different examples. I had given you some pre-read articles as well to read. Then we understood what are the different cases or why it is important to understand or learn email etiquettes, why email etiquettes matter in the corporate world. Right? We had looked at all of these examples from companies like Zomato and other organizations as well. Right? Now I'll not take you through this PowerPoint. I had done a lot of exercises and I had taken a lot of inputs from all of you during the email workshop. I'll focus on those, right? On what problems we had solved. So someone who has already done the email etiquettes workshop should be able to relate very well, and someone who has not done it as well should be able to understand what we had covered during the workshop. So I had asked all of you, and we had a large participation that day. We had around 20 people. What type of communication do you handle via email? So a lot of you said that you work with internal, external, and customer service as well. What are some of your common challenges? So people shared different challenges, and during the session, the focus was on addressing all of these challenges. I showed you how you can improve, how you can practice better, and how you can even utilize GPT for writing better emails, right? And what are the key things that you need to keep in mind when writing an email? For example, a lot of people share that their issue was subject line, right? They cannot craft a subject line. So generally subject line is written after you've written the email, and you want to communicate in 4, 5, 6 words what the email is going to be about, right? So if you craft your subject line initially and then utilize GPT to enhance it further, that is also absolutely okay. But you have to think, what is the most important thing out of this entire email? Then people had problems in striking the right tone, right? It is important to strike the right tone in emails, ensuring they are polite and professional. Tone can be misinterpreted in written communication, leading to misunderstanding, right? Someone had shared this, that a lot of times, because it is text at the end of the day, I am not visually seeing the person who sent me the email. They're not communicating to me via voice or a verbal communication. They're sending him an email. And for me to understand and pick up the tone, I have to use the right words. I have to use positive words. I cannot be rude on the email unnecessarily, right? How you can clarify your complaints formally, don't know what kind of format to use. So generally these were the problems that people were facing. Okay. Then I asked people if they have experienced misunderstanding or conflicts arising from email communication. When I say conflicts, does not mean a fight as such, but any verbal conflict as well, or misunderstanding that has arisen due to email. Now you might not have intended that to happen, but because of the tone or the word that you use unintentionally, it might have caused that to happen. Then I had asked people that from the workshop, what is their objective? So they wanted to focus on writing more professional emails, how to write more professional emails with clarity, improve email writing. Generally, all of them had the same. So improving the subject line and improving the body. Okay. These were the general things that people wanted to focus on, and any other aspects of format. Generally, they wanted to focus on formatting and tone. Right. So this is what I had asked them. This is what participants had responded, and if I can just show you the notes one time and take you through the very end, which is the top 5 things that you need to know for email communication. We had done a lot of exercises as well, wherein I had planned role play activities which we had done using GPT on email itself, right? And I'll just take you through this last part, which is 5 tips for writing professional emails. Right? The first thing you want to do is, what outcome do you hope this email brings? When you send an email, if it is a general information email, that can be the outcome. If you want the other person to take some action, then you have to explicitly mention that I want you to take this action. What do you want the recipient to do? If you ask these questions to yourself, what outcome do I hope this email brings, and what do I want the recipient to do? You will clarify your intentions on the email itself. Then you decide the recipients, who is the most important person to be kept in to and CC in these cases. Remember, you don't have to CC your superiors on all the emails that don't require their oversight. You can use your subject line by tailoring it by using action words like decision, action required, feedback, right? You want to first identify what you want to convey. So you ask yourself this. Then, in case you're looking for a status update on a project, are you trying to secure a time for a one-on-one meeting? Are you hoping the recipient will participate? As you begin writing, think of your words as a call to action so that the other person clearly knows if he has read your email. Does he just have to read it? Does he have to take some action? Does he have to respond to it? That has to clearly come out of the email. Remember, in any sort of communication, whether it is verbal or written, there cannot be any ambiguity, right? There cannot be any gaps, because if there are gaps, they will be filled with assumption, and that will lead to miscommunication, right? Editing your recipient list. A lot of times we mark people unnecessarily, or we reply all on a large thread where there are multiple people marked that have nothing to do with the email, right? So you have to ask yourself, who has the information I'm looking to acquire? Will one member will be able to share it with me, like a team leader or project manager, or do I need to include multiple members? If you want to include someone just as an FYI, which means for your information, you don't want that person to respond. You just want them to be aware that this is going on, this email has been sent. You can explicitly mention FYI and write the person's name, so that they understand that they don't have to respond or acknowledge that email, they just have to read it, right? So when general tip is, when responding to emails, set your default to reply rather than reply all, so that eliminating people is difficult. If you see reply all, there are 10 people, you will be in a jiffy understanding, oh, should I remove this person, should I remove this person? Start with a reply wherein one person is fixed who you have to write the email to, then you can think who is more relevant and you can add those people as well. Tailoring your subject line. You need a standout subject line, right? That serves as the North Star. Now, generally in corporate, your subject line is important, right? But whatever, even if you use a wrong or a bad subject line, your people are still going to open your email because they have to work, right? But you have to ensure that after you do the first step, after you write the body, after you write your message, why do you want to communicate the email, what do you want the person to do, then you come back and think of the subject line, right? So use precursors like action words like decision, action required, feedback for your information, depending on the context of your message, right? Then finally, when you craft your message as well, your message must be clear as your subject line. It should be short and to the point. In a lot of cases, you might have to write a long email, which is also absolutely okay. But in those cases, use bullet points. In those cases, use bullet points, right? And whenever you want people to do something, please give them a timeline. Please give them a timeline. If you're asking people to complete something and you don't give them a timeline, you're making a mistake, because the other person does not know that this is an important task and it has to be completed in the next 3 hours. How will they know that they have to do it? And prioritization will go for a toss. Miscommunication will happen, and you might assume that the person will understand. The person will assume that you will tell them, and in all this miscommunication, there is the work that is impacted, right? And the productivity that goes for a toss. Remember, when we fail to tell people what we need, when we need something, we put it on them to decide whether the task is urgent or not. To avoid this confusion, include an expected end date for the task, request, or feedback. Could you please fill out this survey by Friday? Please share any feedback on you have on my report by EOD tomorrow. Could you please gather the data we discussed for a 10? Some examples, right? Some examples. If you're working with large files, put them on a drive or something so that you're able to share them easily, right? Or you can compress and share the folders. The last task that I had given all of you was to those who were there in the session to write a custom email using GPT. First try it on your own and then try to do it on GPT and see how the outputs are different, how you can explore GPT to enhance your email communication as well. This was with reference to written communication. In terms of verbal communication, what we had done was, I'll just show you. We do not have participants in the session, so if you guys feel that you need another session on verbal communication, do let me know, because I had a very interesting workshop planned. I'll just show it to you guys. Right, so we had a very interesting communication workshop planned, wherein the focus was on understanding your challenges again, right? The full flow, right? Understanding your challenges. So we were supposed to start with a quick introduction. So if we had like good 6, 7, 8, 10 participants, all of them would stand up and they would get 60 seconds to introduce. I would obviously start. So for example, in a quick introduction, I would say that, hi everyone, my name is Talha Parkar. I am a consultant and a trainer in the area of analytics. I work for a firm called Havisham Consulting. My key areas of work include automation and business intelligence. Apart from my work, I like to spend my weekends exploring the city that I'm currently in, which is Delhi. Apart from that, I like to watch a lot of movies as well. So in this introduction, you're giving a formal introduction as well, and you're giving an informal introduction as well, right? So we were going to start with that. Then we were going to take your inputs on what you hear when you see the word communication, right? I had 2 people in the class, so this I had done with them. What is the biggest communication challenge you face in your role, right? Similar to email etiquettes. Understanding your challenges first, and then me helping you solve those challenges. So I'll just show you what exercises we had planned, right? So I'll just skip the questions for now. I'll just show you the exercises that we had planned, right? We are going to identify your strengths and your weaknesses in communication so that we can understand those, right? So first exercise was active listening and feedback, in which I would break you into groups of two participants. I would obviously demonstrate first, and one person would first talk about something, either one of these things on the screen, or you can talk about something else work related for 1.5 minute, and then the other person has to summarize and give feedback, and then the roles are reversed. This one-way communication, wherein you maintain eye contact, you're using your body language, you're using hand gestures, you're smiling, you're using the right tone, this tells you a lot immediately, and you're able to get a lot of feedback on the spot. That was the first exercise, which is active listening and feedback, right? Then the second exercise that I had planned was, let me just show you, group communications. I was going to break you in groups of 3, right, and give you a problem statement, and on basis that problem statement you would get 20-25 minutes to make all your notes, tell you how you can solve that problem. I had different scenarios created for finance, marketing, and HR, right, because most of the people that come in the training are from these divisions. So you could pick any one of these scenarios, and then a short 5-minute presentation by the groups. Again, that would help me understand where you're going right, where you're going wrong, and give you proper feedback as well. And then the last one was navigating difficult conversations, when you have to accept feedback, when you have to give feedback, when you have made a mistake and you have to go and talk about it. In all those scenarios which are challenging, right, we were going to cover those as well. If you missed a deadline, or if you have a family emergency and you want time off, or if there is a performance review and a growth expectation, right? So basically the idea was that we do a lot of exercises, right? That was the session plan, and that did not happen, which is absolutely okay. If you guys want another session on email etiquettes and verbal communication as well, right, you can let us know. Email, I think we have done in depth, so verbal is pending because we do not have a lot of participants, but I've already completed that. But if you guys feel that you would need another session, you can absolutely let us know, and we would be happy to do it as well, right? One for verbal communication as well. Now, how do you practice? So you have these links available with you, right? So all you have to do is, in terms of communication, whatever exercises I've given, you can maybe record on your phone, try to talk about or share your challenges, share your problems, then listen to that video again, so that you get an understanding of where you're talking fast, where you're going slow, are you uttering the words clearly, is the message that you're trying to communicate coming across or not. So we had covered all of this in the gamut of communication, which is email etiquettes and verbal communication, right? Now we don't have any additional sessions on communication, but like I said, if you guys want, we can do one more on verbal communication if there is enough request or enough interest from the participants, right? Perfect. I will see you for the next session, which is on PowerPoint on Thursday. Thank you.